Hello. Okay, so this week I kind of wanted to talk a little about cosplay. This past weekend was New York Comic Con, and I went a couple of days, and I cosplayed for the first time. Uh, Knowing how I have a tendency to babble on a bit, I think I'll probably break this into two parts or two separate videos. The second one I'll actually deal with making, and I use that word making loosely, but making the costume and the experience there. With the first part, I kind of want to deal with how I got to that point, for where I was. The first time I ever went to a convention and saw a cosplayer, or even a year or so ago. Um, so at the I remember the first convention I went to, which was probably 20 years or so ago. They used to run one here on Long Island every year called Icon. Uh, and the first time I went with a friend, and it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, and we went on a Friday night, and Friday started late. Saturday was like the only full day. Remember, you'd see a few people dressed up in costumes. I mean, for years I never heard the term cosplay. My friend had been to this convention a few times before, and he's like, "Yeah, you'll see a few people dressed up today, but all the weirdos come out tomorrow on Saturday." And I guess I always had that thought in my head, and I've always been someone who, I guess, been a little bit judgmental of other people, but probably because I'm judgmental on myself. But I guess when I'm comfortable doing something, I find it easier to almost make fun of them. Not, I would never do it to their face, but whether it's a joke to your friend or just thinking in your head, "Wow, that person's weird for dressing up in a costume," or whatever the thing is that I probably wouldn't do. And also realizing that things you don't understand a lot of times seem weird. I know with my social anxiety, a lot of the stuff people just wouldn't understand it at all. Uh, so over the years, I've, you know, said looking at my social anxiety, I've really been able to look at other stuff and say, well, I might not understand it. I can respect what people are going through. Uh, but in terms of cosplay, I've learned more about it over the years. The time and effort people put into making these costumes. Not to mention, I've become less judgmental. I found it. I found being less judgmental of other people makes it easier for me to be less judgmental of myself, I guess. Um, but there's still that part of you, part of it that just naturally goes that way. And I'll go back to, I guess, last summer, I think it was. I was watching this show, if you've ever seen American Ninja Warrior. Basically, it's an obstacle course, and some people dress up. I guess it's kind of like their version of cosplay. One guy dressed up as a superhero, another as a cowboy, another like a Spartan warrior, and it seems a little weird, but like, okay. But then there's one guy who dressed up as a baby and called himself Baby Ninja or Ninja Baby, one of, and he had like a diaper and that hoodie thing that I don't know if I've ever seen a baby wear or just in cartoons, and I just had thought, well, this guy is just weird. And they just showed the first week he was on. Um, they just showed him doing the course, or maybe even just part of the course. He got through. And then when they got to the next round and he was in, they did a little bit of his background story. And he started talking about saying how he had suffered with social anxiety his whole life, and he tried to find the most ridiculous thing he could wear to draw attention to himself, that would make him feel uncomfortable, and it's kind of what I've been trying to do with these videos and other aspects of my life, and it just totally, switched my thinking on the whole thing. I guess that was one of the starts. And then there were a few things I went to over the course of the year. I went to Disney, and for the first day, I actually wore jeans. But every day after that, I'm like, okay, I'm on vacation, and you walk around and you see the people almost cosplaying there. I would say it's almost like princess cosplay. But there are even some people dressed up like superheroes and stuff. And I said, you know what? I wore my superhero T-shirts or whatever, and socks that matched. And a couple of days I got comments. Oh, look at the Spider-Man socks. And I'm uncomfortable with attention, but it was kind of neat. And then I got back a few weeks later. I went to New York Comic Con for the first time, and I went 2 days. And the second day, I wore this Boba Fett shirt and cap. And it was just a T-shirt, but it kind of, I guess, looked like it wasn't like a picture of Boba Fett. It looked like the shirt looked like his outfit. The hat kind of, as much as a cap can look like a helmet. And I got a few comments on that, and that was kind of nice. And then I went to San Diego Comic Con earlier this year. My first time ever there. That was actually a vacation. And so I wore some kind of superhero T-shirt and matching socks, and I feel like every day somebody made some comment that maybe I felt a little uncomfortable, but it was nice. In fact, sometimes I say I'm almost more uncomfortable with the positive attention than the negative. But everyone would say, "Hey, that's a nice shirt," or "You got cool socks that match," or something like that. And, I guess it makes you feel a little good. And then I don't know, it was my last day there. One of the last days there, I was at a booth, and they were running a special pre-order on a Stormtrooper kit. Uh, and it was, they said that after the convention was over, it was going to go up in price. Plus, if you ordered it, it'd be shipping and tax or whatever. So I looked. It wasn't really expensive compared to most of the other stuff they were selling. So you know what? I'll give it a try. As if I want to do a cosplay, it's not the worst thing. People, wouldn't be able to see me if I don't want them to. And I was actually even thinking ahead to New York Comic Con. It's a kit which I guess it's gonna have to be put together. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it was how much of a pre-order it was, that it's not going to get here till later this year. And so I am worried about being able to put it together right. But so that was out the window, but it got me started thinking, okay, should I do something? And I had a couple of different thoughts. Uh, I not very artistic or crafty, so I was thinking of easy stuff to do. That might be easy. And really, I, I kind of like the idea of doing something maybe a little different, but so first I said just let me do something simple, and I was thinking I kind of went one or two. I was thinking one or two ways. I was a big Star Wars fan, like either Jedi Knight. I kind of feel that works a little bit with my look. Uh, or I thought what might be funny would be Princess Leia. Uh, so as it got closer, I was going back and forth, but I hadn't done anything, and I realized at this point, as I got closer, I realized the easiest thing to do would probably be Princess Leia, but would probably be the most out of my comfort zone. I'm like, is this really weird? But I was talking to a 16-year-old kid I work with, and he's like, yeah, you should do it. And I'm thinking, well, what's cooler than a 16-year-old kid? And if he says I should do it, I should do it. So that's what kind of pushed me over the edge. Not that I didn't have second thoughts after that, but that got me to the point where I said, you know what, I think I'm going to do it. So I guess I'll leave off here. I'll get into how I went about doing the costume, which I waited the last minute for, because I procrastinate with everything. All right, so I'll end this here, and I'll talk about the rest later.